Hello, everyone. My name is Roy, your local Splatoon interview addict. I'm joined here with Alphine, member of Stronghold staff. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
You kind of you gave me an interesting kind of topic list when discussing what you'd want to speak about on the unnamed Roa podcast. Um, could you first give like a little rundown about who you are, what people might know you for, what you do in the community?
Yeah, for sure. I guess to start, currently I am the captain of Flowering Panko. I have been in the Splatoon scene for about 2 years. Ironically, Flowering Panko is the one team that I did not form on my own. There I have a whole list of other teams I did form. Flowering Panko just happened to be the one where I joined as an FA, and I eventually just took the captain role because I'm good at it. Only a couple people know this, but I was not particularly good at the time. My first team ever was Fresh Start, and that was I believe all the way back in 2023, like late 2023, when I first got into the scene. Like my first Instinct Frame One was to make a team on my own, that sort of thing. Uh, as mentioned, I am head staff and moderation for Stronghold. If you are in the Stronghold Discord server, you will probably see me yapping a lot. I'm also pretty active in the peer review server and a couple other like discussion yap servers. I'm very talkative on Blue Sky as well. I regularly like bring up concepts and ideas I think are interesting to talk about. And I'm sure if you follow the comp student feed at all, you've probably seen me. You've
Um, Take me back a bit. How did you first get involved with the game or the community generally?
uh I met a friend of a friend who happened to be on Splatoon team at the time. I don't talk to them much anymore, just because they're in college and that sort of thing. But they were the one who got me into the game. They were one who, their captain coached me a couple of times when I was like new to the game. And yeah, it's just pretty much just friend of a friend.
What appealed to you about it at that like early stage? What like it's really it's really like easy to get introduced, but what kept you coming back?
Hmm. I would say, and this might be a little silly. I would say, uh, I would not say I had a liking for shooters before Splatoon, especially competitive shooters. Not necessarily that I disliked it, just I never like saw myself interested in it. But I think what clicked for me in Splatoon is the movement of the game. Like compared to like hero shooters like TF2 or Overwatch, or even like more like tactical stuff like CS:GO and Valve. For me, what appeals the most is like how fast you move, how fast you get kills, how much like controlling the map is a central part of the game's dynamic, that sort of thing.
So kind of just the physical dynamics of the action of
Yes.
playing the game itself.
Hmm.
Hell yeah. I think yeah, I think Splatoon really excels at that. When it comes to like your involvement in the community itself, you mentioned that you'd been on like kind of a long list of teams. What was the experience like joining some of those early teams?
Uh, very mixed. I could probably yap for hours about my experience with my first couple teams. It's a kind of thing where like I'm glad I have the experience, but now that I have the experience, I would not want to do it again. My first team was a little awkward because my job schedule at the time, I took the first like 3 or 4 people that applied. Half of them left me within a week or two. It's the kind of thing that I don't want other people to go through, which is why I like to share my own ideas and like how I overcame those problems. My second team, I ran into issues with like getting people to communicate. I distinctly remember I would have to ping the entire team multiple times just to get like, hey, are we available on this date for this thing? And most time, half of them would not answer me, and that is just really frustrating to deal with. And then
So
my third team, uh,
no, go ahead.
was a case of goals not aligning. Really, it was a case.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think there's like there's two types of ways that a Splatoon team can can go out. It's either with like a bang or a whimper. It's like, oh,
Yep.
you reach a breaking point where it's like, oh, we're just not compatible anymore, are we? Or you kind of just like, there's one or two people still active and they're pinging and they're like, hey, you want to play in this tournament? And then there's kind of nothing.
Yep, for sure.
So with that like experience in mind, having those like kind of negative experiences on teams where people might not have had the same level of respect for the game or the time put into it, or goals may have not aligned. How do you go about like forming a team that's fit to last?
I think the biggest thing, and this is something I've cited in my own guide that I wrote about a while ago that is on Stronghold's guide tab, heavy screening. Like it is a little different if you're making a team with people you already know. Maybe you're like close friends and you already like know you're compatible with each other. But in most cases, I imagine most teams are being made of people who do not know each other yet. They're, for lack of a better word, randoms to each other. So the best way to approach it, and the way that I have seen work the most often, is to essentially treat it like you're the boss and you're looking for employees, right? You want to find the people who you know for a fact, you know, 100%. I want this person to be with me. I think I like this person. I think they'll be good for me. I think good for me is my wrong expression, but hopefully you get what I mean. Uh, but you want to be like 100% that this person is someone that will stick with you and that you trust them completely, essentially.
Has that like approach worked for you in the creation of different teams that you've been on?
Yes, in fact, I actually helped form Ink Maxing as a personal favor to a friend. I applied pretty much my entire serum for how I think making a team should work to that team. I did multiple scrims per tryout. Every applicant I screened heavily. I checked their socials, I checked their background, I asked around to see if anyone had opinions on them. And so far the team's been doing really well. I recently got them a coach by asking around. They it's an interesting experience to like do that, but instead of like making a team and you're the person who's like leading the team, because I consider myself more of an advisor to the team now that I've actually like finished forming it. But yeah, I would say it's uh one of the more important things you can do with them.
I think especially with kind of stronghold and its affinity for like SBA type things. It's a very
Mm-hmm.
it's a very stronghold thing to go about forming teams that you're not a part of.
Yeah.
I think me and a lot of the other like people on Stronghold joke a lot that we don't actually even play the game anymore, and I think it's really funny to me that like I think us creating teams for us to not even play on them is a pretty telling point in regards to that. Um, so when it comes to like the longevity of a team, you can mention like kind of the setup process, like heavily vetting the people on the team. What does like an interview or what can people expect to deal with under a process like yours?
I think the biggest thing is for a process like mine, I think the biggest thing I like to emphasize is I put a lot of respect and trust in the people I put pull in my wing, for lack of a better term, and I am expecting a lot of that trust and responsibility back. For example, my own team, there's a lot of times where I just like ping like hey, we have a scrim today. Come on, hop in, and I just assume that they will show up on time, and we have always shown up on time with very few exceptions because I know for a fact that I you know I trust them enough to know that they will show up when I tell them when they need to be, if you know what I mean.
Do you think that respect and trust is kind of the basis on which everything else is built?
Yes, very much so. For like especially when it comes to like more uncomfortable topics, like for example, say like one player is going in a bad direction, not a bad direction. Let me think how to word this. uh like if one person is starts to heavily disagree with the direction the team is going, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of teams currently would probably just disband, right? They would be like a lot of drama. They would like maybe explode overnight because nobody could agree and there's just like a big like a lot of pings and a lot of back and forth conversation. What I like to do, and like something I would think a lot of teams could benefit from, do regular meetings, monthly meetings, just like be like, hey, let's meet up at this time, let's meet up at this place. Here's some stuff I want to go over. Here's some stuff everyone else wants to go over. Let's just talk about it. Let's see if there's anything we want to sort out right now. That kind of stuff.
I I think that form of like explicit time for just open communication is extremely important in like a lot of different relationships, but especially in something like competitive Splatoon where your goals and your mentality and the
Hmm.
direction that you're taking together as a group needs to be so well defined for things to run smoothly. I think I've had a lot of like I've personally like been had my eyes opened up to this a bit when I was part of the SBA, and after I continued to kind of mentor and essentially for a little bit team manage less than three, one of the teams from season zero. And
Hmm.
part of what one of part of their process was to have these like regular, I think at the time they were weekly, I'm not sure like to what degree they still do them, to what degree they keep up on it, but I think it was really important, especially early for them, to create that basis of like constant open communication where you can bring up anything and you're always keeping yourself fresh on what the other people are thinking and what
Yeah,
other people want.
for sure. I don't know. I don't know if I do monthly per se. I found so far FEP has done 3 monthly meetings. The first one was unscheduled because of some disagreements that happened, but everyone since has been scheduled. Usually, we what we do is, and I did copy some email system a little bit for this. I write down some notes on what I want to talk about. I let everyone else write down what they want to talk about, and then we meet up and we just discuss anything that comes to mind. Oftentimes the topics we talk about boil down to like, hey, are our goals still the same as last time? Hey, are our schedule the same as last time? Hey, what do we want to do soon? Do we want to do NA League? Do we want to do low ink? Do we want to do FIU? What's our long term prediction? What's our short term predictions? Stuff like that you would not really think about discussing during a scrim or a VOD review, but is so essential to discuss when you can. And if you try to discuss it over text, a lot of the tone can be lost. Like if I said, "Hey, why aren't we doing FIU?" or like, "Why aren't we doing lowing?" Over text, that might cause more issues because a lot of the tone is lost without voice. If you know what I mean.
For sure. I think you brought up a really interesting point there when you talked about how people choose usually to kind of engage with these things. Oh, we'll talk about it before the next scrim. We'll talk about it like after the scrim. But I think that that approach is really detrimental to communication because I think it like it ties talking to each other to playing the game rather than like open, consistent
Mm-hmm.
communication being the bedrock on which everything is built.
Yep.
I
And
think
I think that, oh, sorry, you can
no,
go.
go for it.
The big thing I want to emphasize above everything else here is the entire purpose and like what I stress a lot is just communicate. I've seen so many teams that literally just explode because nobody's talking at all, and it's the kind of thing that's so avoidable if people were just a little bit more upfront about their like what's going on in their lives. Because the way I like to think of it is being in a team is a set of compromises. You are usually putting in like something of yours. Like usually it's like time or expertise or like knowledge or something similar, and you are expecting everyone else to hold up their end of the deal essentially. Like I'm trying to think of a good example for this. I think the biggest way teams go wrong is when if the one person wants something so wildly different from the rest of the team that it just will never work out. As to use a specific example, my third team, my co-captain at the time, I remember I played Zap in a scrim once with them, and they told me, "No, I don't want you to play Zap. I want you to play something else because I do not like want to play with Cooler." And in hindsight, that should have been a dead giveaway that we were not compatible, and I should have just left the team right then and there. But I stuck with it because I was desperate at the time. Nice, and that's the kind of scenario where you just kind of have to like bite the bullet sometimes and say, this is not going to work out. I need to try something else. I need to try something.
I think especially with stuff like that, you have to be open to discuss what boundaries are hard and what's soft.
Mm-hmm.
What can you not what is not compatible with how you play the game, and what compromises, again you brought up that, and I think that's really like a poignant thing. What can you compromise on and what can't you compromise on? And I think
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it all comes back to the level of sacrifice that you're able to make and what parts of the competitive experience you're able to sacrifice or twist to be able to make it work.
Yep. And in that same vein, something that I don't think a lot of people think about is people's situations change over time. I used to work 2:30 to 11 p.m. Monday to Friday, and I do not know how my team lasted through that. We used to scrim, and I know if any OC folks are watching, you will probably remember this. We used to scrim 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. because that was the only time we all happened to be available, and it's just like, it's just like that worked for a time, but there was a point where I was like, if I want this team to last, I need to switch jobs because they will not last in the future. And on a separate tangent as well in relation to that, there are also times where like people's goals can shift. Like for example, when I joined FEP, my only goal was I just want to get results because I had none at the time. I just wanted to like maybe improve the game a little bit, maybe like win a set or two. But now that my team, I should say, has consistently been able to hit that FTIU cold bracket placement pretty consistently, our goal has completely shifted. Like we want to win FTIU, we want to keep going for upward, we want to keep improving. And why our team works and why I think others don't is essentially that we communicate a lot about that, we yap a lot about that, we discuss that often, and we always are like upfront when like, hey, I think we should change this XYZ because it is not, we do not think this is working anymore, and this will not work out in the future. There have been a few times where like Ada will like after a scrim will say, hey, I think we should discuss XYZ because I think we need to talk about this right now, or otherwise it will not work out, that sort of stuff.
You kind of bring up a lot there about like managing when people disagree,
Mm-hmm.
when stuff goes wrong. How do you think teams are how do you think teams can prepare to actually like handle conflict?
The easiest way for sure is just to establish it as your like status quo, as it were. Like from the get go, I think most teams should be like, hey, I like from the moment they form, they should be like, I want to do this amount of scrims per week. I want to do this amount of VOD views per week. I want to do this amount of tournaments per week. And then on top of that, occasionally you add like a meeting or two and say, hey, this is our time to discuss what we would not discuss during these other sessions and what we think can be improved essentially.
Hmm. I think in my experiences, I've been on a lot of teams that have again, I mentioned it earlier. There's two ways Splatoon teams die. It's with a whimper or a bang. Um, I've
Hmm.
been on teams that have kind of felt like they've gone in both ways. Um, do you think it's different for different teams in any way, or do you think that like no matter who you are, there's a formula that you can apply that will like drastically help you when it comes to handling conflict?
Hmm. I don't think there's one size fits all solution to managing a team, but there's definitely ways that there's definitely ways that you should not do it for
Mm.
sure. I think I think the biggest one I mentioned earlier is like taking the first people who apply, not screening at all, that sort of thing. The ultimate thing is just finding a system that works for you that works for whoever ends up joining you. Like my Flower Panko used to scrim like 2 or 3 times a week. We used to like VOD review twice a week. We used to like do 2 or 3 events a week. Right now, we only do one VOD, one event, one scrim a week because our schedule changed, our goals changed a little bit, and the important thing is just to be honest and communicative about when those things, so that when they come up, everyone in the dynamic is ready to like approach it on and with 100% honesty. My golden rule of thumb is if I cannot trust my teammates to be honest, and I cannot trust myself to be honest with them, it is not the team for me.
We can focus a lot on what people like should do and the rules people can put in place to ensure it. What are some things people should just avoid? What are the don'ts?
Uh, I think the biggest thing, and this is a personal peeve of mine, don't overestimate yourself too early. I see a lot of people recently be like, I'm gonna join a team. I'm gonna like win low ink first try. I'm gonna be steamroll the whole event. And it's just like and they go like 0-4 and then the team explodes. And like I've seen it happen like essentially just set keep your expectations in check. Most of the time, the people, if you're new to the scene, if you're like a budding player, maybe you have a couple months, maybe you have played in a couple tournaments, or maybe you're a team captain and you're looking for the perfect person, and you're like, I'm gonna make a team and a brand new team like 1 week, and then we'll start winning events. Patience is a key word there. You need to progress doesn't come overnight. Neither will in most cases. It's just gonna be like if you are willing to put the time towards it, you can succeed. But if you rush it, it's not going to turn out well. It's not.
Do you if you could sum up your kind of advice? I know you've written a guide for forming a team. I'm gonna link that below because it's hyper relevant to the discussion here. But if you could sum up your advice to people listening, who do you how would you sum up the all of the knowledge that you've been able to gather on forming a well like grounded team that's able to work well together and last?
I think the biggest thing overall that I would recommend to pretty much everyone is the first step is to be honest with yourself about what you want out of the game. If you want to be more casual, that's fine. If you want to Uber grind, play 4 events a week, that's also fine. You just need to find people who match and who are also honest about what they want as well. Because if you make a team and like two people want to be like really casual, maybe to play turf once a while, but only like an event like once or twice a month, and you have two people who want to play 4 events a month and do like 5 scrims, that's never going to work out. You need to find people who are compatible before everything else. And I think good screening will do that better than any other method I've seen.
Yeah, I think it starts at the beginning, right? You can only do so much once the team is formed. I think
Mm-hmm.
not to say that like every team is doomed for like there's you can go to team therapy, like you can solve issues on your team, but I think nothing beats a strong start.
Yep.
For sure. Okay. You've been really insightful. You've been able to give me a lot of insight and have a really good discussion about this, I think.
I like to think my 2 years Splatoon comp and 1,900 hours has been worth it. It's been,
Well, it's been worth it for these 23 minutes. So thank you for committing your time to this. Do you have some socials you want to plug? Where can the people find you?
the biggest one I want to plug is both my YouTube and Twitch channels. They should be the same handle as my Blue Sky, and they're also linked on my Sendu. I regularly stream our event runs. Occasionally, I'll post a VOD review we do, maybe once in a while. If anyone watching this could follow our team account, Flyrek Benko at Blue Sky Social, that would be amazing. I love having a stronger social media presence. I think Blue Sky has allowed me to do that way better than Twitter ever could, among other things. It's,
For sure. Yeah. Okay. Um, Thanks so much for agreeing to do this. I think it's been a great conversation. I'll leave all the links to where you can find Alphine on all socials below. Thank you for watching, and thanks for agreeing for the interview.
Mhm.
All right, bye. Thanks for watching.